Good morning, students. Welcome to your chemistry class. So, open chapter number 9, carbon on your book. So, today we will be doing reaction with active metals. We were doing properties of carbon dioxide. In that, we have seen the physical properties, and in the chemical properties, we have done one thing, that is combustion. The second is reaction with active metals. It is given on page number 103 of your book. Please open this page. So let's start with reaction with active metals. On the right hand side you can see the activity series. I had shown you this image earlier also. In this also this has some reference because in this they have given an active metal like sodium, potassium or magnesium. On the right side you can see potassium written over here, sodium, calcium, magnesium. These all are above carbon. It means that they all are more reactive than carbon, and if in any reaction they react with any product that is having carbon, so they will displace carbon from that because they are more reactive than that. So let's see. An active metal like sodium, potassium or magnesium abstracts oxygen from carbon dioxide, setting carbon free when burnt in the gas. Experiment. Take a gas jar full of carbon dioxide and introduce a burning piece of magnesium. So you can see that we have taken carbon dioxide gas and we have taken a burning piece of magnesium into it. The metal continues to burn in the gas. As a result, white smoky scales of magnesium oxide are deposited. So here you can see that the oxygen which was in the carbon dioxide, that is it was with carbon, right? It has been displaced and it has combined with magnesium to form magnesium oxide. Magnesium oxide are deposited on the inner walls of the jar. In the reaction, some black carbon particles are also formed that they have earlier told us na, that they have set the carbon free. So, which can be seen more clearly if the smoky scales of magnesium oxide are dissolved into dilute HCl. We can see this black carbon particles more clearly if the magnesium oxide scales na, that had covered the gas jar from the inside. So if it is dissolved in dilute HCl, we can see the carbon more clearly. So next is action on litmus. The aqueous solution of the gas is weakly acidic and turns blue litmus wine red. So firstly they are saying if we are having a aqueous solution of this gas, that is we are talking about carbon dioxide, it is weakly acidic and therefore it turns blue litmus into wine red. So I would like to tell you over here, if we are having blue litmus and if it is turned into red, it means that whichever solution we are testing is acidic. And if red litmus paper turns blue, that means that whichever solution we are testing is basic or alkaline. So the acidic nature of the gas is generally tested by placing a moist blue litmus paper in the gas. They have turned the litmus paper into a moist paper so that they can check if the gas is present over there, right? So an aqueous solution of the carbon dioxide contains carbonic acid. So that is why it turns the blue litmus into red. They have shown the reaction also. If carbon dioxide reacts with water, like in this we have moist the litmus paper, it will turn into carbonic acid. So that is why the blue litmus will be turned into red. Our fourth point is reaction with metal oxides. Metal oxides are generally basic in nature and carbon dioxide is acidic. So, carbon dioxide slowly reacts with metal oxides to form the metal carbonates, which are salts. So the salts we are talking about is the compound that is formed after the reaction between the two. So if sodium oxide reacts with carbon dioxide, it will lead to the formation of sodium carbonate, as they have shown you in the first example. In the second one, they have shown you if magnesium oxide reacts with carbon dioxide, it will lead to the formation of magnesium carbonate. And if calcium oxide reacts with carbon dioxide, it will lead to the formation of calcium carbonate. So whenever a metal oxide is reacting with carbon dioxide, it will lead to the formation of metal carbonates, which are salts. Next is our reaction with lime water. Lime water is a dilute solution of calcium hydroxide. The reaction of the carbon dioxide with lime water may be studied in three parts. The first part says the clear lime water turns milky when carbon dioxide is passed through it. We all have seen lime water. So if carbon dioxide is passed through it, it will show a milkiness in it. It will show the color of like a little bit maybe white. So this is because the insoluble white substance calcium carbonate is formed. Calcium hydroxide is reacting with carbon dioxide and is leading to the formation of calcium carbonate plus water. So calcium carbonate is the insoluble white substance which leads to the formation of milkiness in it. Second part is the milkiness disappears when an excess of carbon dioxide is passed through the liquid. This is because the soluble colorless compound calcium hydrogen carbonate is formed. So, we have seen that we have got in the first reaction calcium carbonate plus water. And if we are passing carbon dioxide in excess, then this is the product form, that is calcium hydrogen carbonate, and with this the milkiness that had appeared earlier will disappear. The milkiness reappears when the above solution is boiled. This is because the hydrogen carbonate on being heated decomposes back to give the carbonate causing the milkiness. So if we heat up the calcium hydrogen carbonate, it will lead to the formation of calcium carbonate again and water plus carbon dioxide gas. So it will in the case reverse. So which we had earlier as reactants will be formed as products over here. So this is the three-part reaction which you can see. At first we are having lime water and we are passing carbon dioxide through it, and it turns the lime water milky. And if we continue to pass carbon dioxide, then the milkiness of the lime water will disappear because calcium hydrogen carbonate is formed, which is soluble. Okay. In the third part, if we heat the calcium hydrogen carbonate, then it will form the calcium carbonate plus water plus carbon dioxide again, and at this point the milkiness will appear again. Our next topic is carbon dioxide and the environment. In low concentrations in the air, carbon dioxide is essential for life, but in high concentrations it is a cause of great concern, because in low concentrations it is present in the air and we know that like plants need it, so it is needed. But if it is present in high concentrations, it can lead to a lot of harm, which we will see. Firstly, we will see how in photosynthesis it is helping. We know that green plants use carbon dioxide for photosynthesis and manufacture their food, glucose, in the process. This we all know, we have studied it from many classes. So, thus life seems to have originated on this planet from carbon dioxide and moisture. The reaction over here is not very visible. Please see it in your book. So the reaction that is written over here is that we are having 6 molecules of carbon dioxide over here. Plus when it reacts with 6 molecules of water, which is from soil, in the presence of sunlight, leads to the formation of C6H12O6, which is glucose, plus it gives oxygen. So this is the reaction, this is the basic reaction of photosynthesis. Please go through it. It is not very difficult for you to learn this. So just go through it, because it is generally which you have read throughout, it is just given in the form of a reaction. Next is the greenhouse effect. We all have heard it somewhere sometime. So what is greenhouse effect? A greenhouse is actually a glass house inside which we can grow plants. During the day, the sun rays enter the glass house and keep the plants warm, but the glass traps a part of the heat of the sun rays and keeps on radiating it back even during the night, keeping the plants warm. So, if we see in our daily lives, if we are sitting in a car, right? So, if we just close the windows and we just close everything, so if there is very direct sunlight, the car will heat up, right? And if we open the door, it will release the heat. So in the same way, because of the glass that is the greenhouse is having, because of that the sunlight rays are trapped in it, and it helps to keep the plants warm even at the night. The carbon dioxide present in the Earth's atmosphere plays the same role as the glass in a greenhouse. The carbon dioxide traps the heat of the sun rays and keeps radiating it back so that the warmth of the earth is retained. The sun rays heat the earth directly also, but a large portion of the rays are reflected back. So, without the warmth provided by carbon dioxide of the atmosphere, the earth would have been much colder during the nights. So what they are telling us is that carbon dioxide is doing the same work as the glass is doing in the case of greenhouse. It is trapping the rays of the sun and keeping our earth warm and even during the nights. Otherwise the nights would be much colder. A gas that traps heat in the environment and keeps the surroundings warm is known as a greenhouse gas. Whatever gas does this work will be called a greenhouse gas, and the whole effect as the greenhouse effect. That is, these all gases which are doing this work are greenhouse gas, and the effect that they are showing is greenhouse effect. Thus, carbon dioxide is a greenhouse gas, and other such gases in our environment are mainly methane, which is emitted by cattle dung, and fluorocarbons used as coolants in fridges and air conditioners. So these are few examples of greenhouse gases. There are some others also, but over here these three are mentioned. So you should keep in mind that how they are produced and where these are used. Our next topic is global warming. What will happen if the concentration of carbon dioxide increases in our environment? If this happens, the average temperature of the earth will increase, the polar ice caps and the glaciers will melt, the sea level will be raised, submerging several islands and coastal cities, and there will be drastic chemical changes. All this will happen due to a rise in Earth's average temperature, that is due to global warming. So, as we have studied about the greenhouse effect, we have seen that how these gases are leading to the trapping of the heat and keeping our earth warm. But what happens if these are increased so much that they actually start heating up our earth to such an extent that we would face these problems, that our average temperature of the earth will increase? If polar ice caps start melting, where will the wildlife that is living over there will go? If the sea level starts rising, because if the glaciers will melt, the sea level will rise, right? So several coastal cities that are like in India we have a coastline, like so maybe several cities would be submerged in the sea. There will be drastic chemical changes. If the heat is so much that there is melting of glaciers, the sea level is rising. So this all will affect our climate in a large way. All this will happen just due to the rise in Earth's average temperature, and that is rising because the proportion of greenhouse gases is rising day by day. Afforestation can bring down the dangers of global warming by using up the increased carbon dioxide in photosynthesis, but the opposite activity, that is deforestation, is on the increase due to increased population. So what they are saying is, if we plant trees, afforestation is done, then we can bring down the dangers. That is, that we can control the amount of carbon dioxide that is present in the air. But if we just keep on doing deforestation, then even afforestation will not help. So deforestation is done on a large scale because the population is increasing, and so the space needed has to be cut out from the forest. But this, on the other hand, is leading to the increase in global warming. So there should be a balance in this, that if we are cutting trees at one point, we should plant at some other, and we should see that how much it is affecting our environment, and if the cost benefit ratio is fine, or we are at a loss by doing all this. This all has to be kept in mind if we want a safe environment. With increasing deforestation as well as industrialization, the proportion of carbon dioxide in our environment has increased a lot, and we are already facing the dangers of global warming. The world community is making all out efforts to bring the proportion of carbon dioxide down to permissible levels. Large meetings at international levels have been taking place, so that they are discussing about how we can bring the carbon dioxide levels down. So all of this is under process. We should do our part. We should try that whatever we are doing is not harming environment in any way. So just we can do this is on our part. Next is action on natural water. This we will do in our next video. Thank you students. Take care.